them on your kittens, and away we go!
This is RamView Wrap-Up for November the 30th, 2025, Week 12 wrap-up between the Rams and the Carolina Panthers, brought to you by Kistler Law Firm. Get compensation you deserve. Check that QR code. Check out Kistler Law at KistlerLawFirm.com. All right, we're here. Couple of thoughts here about that Ram game today. First thing was, I got to see the game after I knew the outcome because somebody in my profession broke the cardinal rule, and they texted me the score of the game before the game was over, before I sat down to watch it on record. This person is now banished for the rest of my life. I will never speak to this person again. But I sat through the game, and I have to admit, it was an interesting game to see. Some thoughts here. My first thought was, this is the least upset I've ever been about a Ram loss. They blanked around, they found out, and got their nose bloodied, right? Okay, Matthew Stafford's not going to throw 2 picks and a fumble again this season. He's just not going to. He really only threw 1 today. An interception you should be held accountable for, very much so when you throw into the wrong window, you throw into double coverage, you throw back across the field, you make a poor throw. Ball bounced off a defender's helmet, got picked off by Nick Scott. Little justice there for the former Ram. There was nothing here to really get crazy about. The team wasn't overpenalized. Nothing along the offensive line was really exposed. There was no fumbling issues. There were no kicking game issues. The Rams just blanked around, and they found out. 1 penalty on the second to last snap of the game for them. There was only 1 penalty. So this was nothing to get too worked up about. And in fact, probably a good thing. The Rams weren't going to run the table the rest of the way, right? No one thought they were going to go 15-2. But the Rams were clearly the better team. Everyone saw it. They just kept kind of shooting themselves in the foot, and things were happening that normally had not happened to them this season. So if you got to get a reset, if you got to be kind of shook up a little bit, that even when you're the better team, even when you're not committing major mistakes, right? Things happen, right? You gotta tighten up the ship. You gotta play 4 quarters. I thought the most depressing thing was the third quarter, was the defense couldn't get off the field. And again, that wasn't the whole game. That was that quarter, right? And that part, you got to give some credit to the play calling for Carolina. You got to give some credit to them sticking with the game plan. I believe we said on Friday's show or Saturday morning show that Carolina needs to pound the ball so you don't get Bryce Young too exposed. And did you see anything about Bryce Young today that says, that's the guy, right? You didn't. And I look at this Ram team, and I just think they were doing what they were supposed to do offensively against this team. Stafford had 2 hiccups. He's going to be punished for a third. I'm not too upset, even though it was in the end zone on the ball going off a defender's helmet and getting picked. The pick 6 was bad, and the fumble, sometimes I think he just operates in a world where he thinks that can't happen or it won't happen. And, of course, we saw it did. $5 Steve. Who was it? Bro, it was actually another pastor. Absolutely. And that's the unwritten rule. And it's not guidelines. It's a rule that when your team is playing in the 10 a.m. window, you don't reveal scores. You just don't even have a conversation. And so this pastor up the coast says, hey, what's going on? I got out of church and this is going on with the Rams. And I'm like, are you blanking kidding me? Now, this individual is not ordained yet. And they have to come to front of my board that I'm on, credentials committee, before they can be ordained. And yes, this is going to be in play. I might not ordain this person, allow this person to be ordained. So again, least upset I've ever been about a Rams loss. They blanked around, they found out, and they got their noses bloodied, and they know they got to play a full 4 quarters, and that Matthew Stafford can be mortal. And so again, not the end of the world. A good reset, a good jolt to the system. So it might make the road a little harder. Maybe there's a road game in their future in the playoffs. But again, I didn't think it was that bad of a deal. Okay, Carolina, think about this. The Rams lost 31-28. Carolina had a 3-point scoring drive, and they had 4 big scoring plays. On a 3rd and 8, they went 35 yards to a touchdown. That was Chuba Hubbard. They got the pick 6 with Mike Jackson, 48-yard return. On 4th and 3, they went 33 yards for a touchdown. Was that Coker? And then on 4th and 2, 43 yards to Ted McMillan there at the end. The Rams hadn't given up big plays all year. All year they hadn't given up big plays, and they got torched today by big plays. The defense wasn't its best. I thought the pass rush could have been a little bit better. They got worn down a little bit there in the third quarter. But 3rd and 8, 4th and 3, 4th and 2, and then, of course, the pick 6. These things aren't going to repeat themselves. They're not going to repeat themselves. If people are buying stock with Carolina right now, it's fool's gold. So, again, no one wants to lose. Rams didn't play well, but it's not the end of the world. All right. Already I saw the Rams have got to do something about Emmanuel Forbes. Sunday last week, everybody loved him, right? Everybody wanted to be on that bandwagon that I was riding along, right? Now I literally saw a post that said, Rams have to do something about Emmanuel Forbes. They need to make a move there. And I was like, are you kidding me? Hey, give Bryce Young a couple of pieces of credit here. He did make 2 really good throws. But yeah, those were plays, especially the touchdown, I think, to Coker, that Forbes would have broken up earlier this year, and he didn't do it. He got beat. He did not have a great game. I always thought the missed tackle was a little more egregious on 2nd down on the Panthers' the winning drive they had. But yeah, he didn't have a great day. But can I just tell you, if someone's telling you Emmanuel Forbes is the problem, they're not a Ram fan to be taken seriously. I got Steve here. Yes, I know someone who considers another dead to him for doing something similar. Yeah, Steeler fan Rob used to do it all the time. But here's the thing about Steeler fan Rob. He hasn't done it for a couple of years. And I'll say this about him. He's not in the same business I'm in. Everyone in our business, my business, knows there are things you don't do, and yet this person did it. All right, Puka Nacua saved the Rams from a worse loss. Hey, it was a 1-possession game, and Nacua saved them from a worse loss. The Rams are driving. They're down, what was that, 21? What were they down? 24-21. They're driving, and they're gashing them. They're just absolutely gashing the Panthers. And then I don't know why McVay went away from it, right? McVay should have leaned even heavier on the run game, and Nacua saves them with that one-handed grab. I mean, that was outrageous. It was just a fantastic catch. He saves them, and they ended up scoring, taking the go-ahead lead there. But if not for Nacua, there was a couple other catches he made there. This game could have been worse. There could have been things to complain about other than defense went to a little bit of sleep. They got a little bit of soft in the third, couldn't get off the field. And McVay wasn't horrible, but he should have leaned heavier on the run. And then finally, guys, here's the thing, just in wrapping up here as we come to the 10-minute mark. No one wants to hear me all day. We'll talk more about this tomorrow. Atlanta lost. Isn't that awesome? There's some good news right there. Jets beat Atlanta on a 56, 59, 57-yard field goal by Nick Foles. Hallelujah. Atlanta lost, right? And I'll just say this again. If the Rams play Carolina again, they're going to crush Carolina. Carolina, good for them. They played hard. I don't know why a team that's limited in some of its talent doesn't keep Hubbard and Dowdell on the field at the same time. It's like the 49ers, why they don't have Robinson and McCaffrey on the field at the same time. But whatever, it's their problem. Rams play Carolina again. The Rams are going to crush Carolina. They're just going to. That offensive line for Carolina had the best day of their lives. And you're right, Michael Negretti. The D-line isn't getting enough pressure or finishing, right? Or finishing. There were some missed opportunities there in the backfield that kind of reminded me of early 2024 when Fisk and Verse were missing some sack opportunities. But again, not the end of the world. Again, 4 plays, 4 touchdowns on 4 plays. 3rd and 8, 35-yard touchdown. 4th and 3, 33-yard touchdown. 4th and 2, 43-yard touchdown, and a pick 6. That just doesn't happen to the Rams. That just doesn't happen to this team. And so McVay's got plenty to yell about. That's good news. Every coach loves that. Plenty to yell about. But again, no deep structural things. 4 PATs were kicked. 4 PATs were made. No blocked punts, no punt returns, no kick returns for touchdown. Again, nothing egregious along the offensive line. There was nothing here. No ridiculous penalties. No death by 1,000 cuts in the secondary. These again were plays where there was zero. They were in zero coverage. Right? It was just mano a mano. It was just the 2 long touchdown passes on 4th down. The 3rd down on Chuba Hubbard where he scored, they just out-schemed the Rams on that play. And it just doesn't always happen. And I'm doubting very much it will happen again. And so, again, not uptight. You want the win. Seattle won. And so, yeah, so it's frustrating. But if you got to have a loss, this is the loss you want in this manner. Didn't you live in the confidence that the Rams were going to win this game? I really did. I'm watching it and I'm thinking the person who blew this for me doesn't even know, right? Doesn't even know that the Rams are going to come back and win this game. But of course, they did know. I just figured Rams feel like they're going to win this game. So, okay, Rams lose to Carolina. They're 9-3. Not the end of the world. I think it's going to go really bad for the Cardinals next week, okay? If the Rams lose to the Cardinals, then I think there's a problem. I think the Rams are going to beat the snot out of the Cardinals next week. I think the Cardinals are really going to have a bad time against the Rams. I think this is going to keep the Rams focused for the Cardinals, the Lions, and even the Seahawks. I really believe this. And if the Rams could win the next 3 games, they're going to be 12-2 or 12-3. And they're wrapping up the season against a Falcon team that's falling apart and against the Cardinals at home. So if you had to get your bell rung, get your wake-up call. They got it today. And so, again, no deep-rooted systemic issues. Nothing you're going, oh, my gosh, what are we going to do? Did we lose the game because Havenstein didn't play? No. Did we lose the game because Quentin Lake didn't play? No. Did we lose the game because Tyler Higbee wasn't out there? No. Right? It's just an anomaly. It happened. You're not going to give up 4 big plays again. You're not going to. And so Rams will adjust, and they'll go from there. Let's see here. Jesus 50. Never been sold on our run defense. The only bright spot in our interior line is Poona Ford. Kobe Turner and Braden Fisk get beat off the line. Again, is it the best? No. Have they improved? Yeah. That's not like it's been in years before. Give credit to the Carolina line. They had the game of their lives, and give credit to Canales. He stuck with the game plan the whole way. And then again, also, there were just some things. Hey, there were some missed tackles out in the flat that could have got him off the field. Again, no one's worried about this. If on 4th and 3, 4th and 4, 4th and 2, 3rd and 8, on 2 of those plays, they get off the field, and they didn't, instead of picking up some first downs. So not perfect. No team is perfect right now, but yeah, stuff to learn on. That's why I begged the Rams to make a trade for a very good run-stopping interior D lineman. No one's going to give those guys up. Did you want to give up 2 number 1s for Quinnen Williams? I wouldn't have been upset if they did, but the Rams have that position manned enough right now. And here's the other thing too, is did you see the way the Eagles have been pushed around the last 2 weeks by the Cowboys and the Bears? You're going to get much better than Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter, and they get pushed around. And so again, the Rams had enough to easily win this game. They just didn't do it. They got to live with it. And it didn't create worries. I think usually when the Rams have a difficult loss, it creates worries for us. I'm not super worried here. If how do I say this? If Hubbard doesn't score, where they just out scheme the Rams on the outside there on a 3rd and 8, then Seattle doesn't score on that play, right? They just don't score. Let's give them that touchdown. If Stafford doesn't have a fluke ball bounce off a defender's helmet, Rams probably score, and it's 21-7. Last time Stafford gave up a pick 6, right? That was a bad pass, but he gave up pick 6, but that never happened. That game could have easily been 28-10 at halftime, right? It easily could have been. And different outcome. The Rams kept giving them life, which allowed them to stay in that running game, which allowed them not to expose Bryce Young. And so Rams did it. Rams did it to themselves, as the phrase goes. They blanked around and they found out. All right, we went 15. Guys, thanks for hanging with me. Jesus, Michael Negretti, Steve, anyone else that's out there, I do appreciate you hanging around. Love your thoughts. Give me some new thoughts. Of course, we'll see the breakdown and the stats and all that kind of stuff, snap counts and everything on by the time we go on the air tomorrow. But I wanted to get it out now because I just wanted to go with my initial reaction, and also to put out a reminder out there that when somebody says they're recording the frickin' game, that means they're recording the frickin' game. All right, guys. God bless. Take care. Ticked, but it's not the end of the world. All right.